This is a quick video which will be scruffy and imprecise, and it shows you roughly how a BR29 daylight assessment works. We're not going to cover sunlight in this one because I haven't been doing these for long, and it'll be a bit too much to try and fit in. So first of all, if we just consider two buildings. So we'll call this one existing and this one proposed. And then you have the sun in the sky, and the sun comes down, and you've got a shadow area here. And but in the winter, when the sun is lower, your shadow area will change. And say you have a window on this building here. I'll just open up my colour palette a minute. So say you have a window on this building here. Well, you really won't be sure how much light it's getting, because you've got this building here which is particular size, and then all these various angles of sunlight at different times of the year. So generally, when we do a sunlight assessment, we consider the sun when it's at the equinox, the spring equinox, I think. And so we should get a kind of average kind of situation, not worst case, not best case. So if we start a new slide now, and we have a look at this, what's going on in plan form, then so we've got our a row of existing buildings here, like this. Okay, and we've got an existing tower block here, and then we've also got a small garage here, which we'll call G for garage, and then we're going to put in a new building here, which will be proposed, say a house or something. We might also have other buildings over here, terraced houses for example, or something, but we'll just leave those out because just to keep it simple. So the first thing we do is we mark on the existing buildings where we want our assessment points. Now these are normally positioned to match the downstairs window facing a new development, and there is a rule for where the height, I think it's 1.5 metres above ground level, that's the height, standard height you assess, although it should be to the centre of the window. So once you've got those assessments points in, you start to measure out from those to the various obstructions which might get in the way of the light as it's coming towards it, like this. So you take these distances here, and then we also need to find out the height of these buildings here which are overshadowing, and then when we've got the height of these buildings here, we divide by the length and we come up with a ratio, which is what we carry over and use with the indicator a bit later on. So you would do this measuring for each assessment point. Now in the computer model, this is all done automatically, I suspect. I've never used a computer model, we just use a transparency method, and that seems to have worked okay. So once we've measured the distances and we've got our ratios, we then overlay our transparency, which is a kind of like a piece of transparent plastic with lots of concentric circles on it, and that gets laid over the top. I'll draw that one in a minute, but first of all let's just mark up our ratios here. So this is kind of quite a low building at a moderate distance, so that might have a ratio of 4, and our new one will be perhaps a little bit higher, so we'll call that 5. This is not the height, this is the ratio. And then we've got a tower block here. So we've got the tower block here, which might be 3 because it's quite a tall building, so the ratio will be lower. So once we've got that, then we can start thinking about laying our transparency over the top. So the transparency you centre over the assessment point you're dealing with at the time, and as I said, it's got lots of concentric half circles on it like this, which go out, and we need to go up to, there's 10 concentric circles in all, which is all you ever need. How many have you got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's enough for this example, but they carry on going out to 10 anyway. And what you do then, you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You mark on the kind. I'll call it a shadow wedge because I think that's kind of a bit descriptive. And you mark the shadow wedge on. So this one's a 4, so that will encroach to line 4, which is this one. And what you do, you mark it on like so, 4, and then you mark this one here, which is 5, so that's a bit further out. 2, 3, 4, 5, so it'll be this one, like that. And then this one here, which is 3, so that will go into this line here, like that. Okay. So if you remember, this here is our proposed shadow wedge, but the other two are already existing. Okay, which will be important in a minute when we can get on to the next bit. So now we'll do we take off the purple, which is this colour here, and we take off the green lines because they're on a transparent sheet of paper, and then we lay it over on top of a page within the guide which has lots of dots all over it. So this one, there are dots around in this area quite closely packed together, thusly, and quite closely packed together here, and as you go out you get less and less densely packed dots. I'm sorry this looks a bit messy, but the actual building outlines you won't see because at this point, because they're on a separate sheet of paper. So remember, we've got 10 lines, so it goes right out to somewhere around here where there's very few dots at all. So like this. So then what you do, you count up how many dots fall within the shadow wedges. Well, they don't call them shadow wedges in the guide, I'm just making that up. So in this case we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 in there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in there, so 20. So that our pre-existing overshadowing of point A would be 20 dots worth. There's VSC points, vertical sky components. The new piece we're introducing here is the new overshadowing component, and so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 VSC points in there. So your post VSC value for point A would be 26. So that's not precisely how it goes, but that's the general concept anyway. So you're allowed a 20%, the numbers to remember are a 20% reduction. That's what you're allowed under the guide before the impact is considered not good. So if it's greater than 20%, then that's not a good thing. And there's also a 27 value. So if you've got if the window gets 27 VSC points in terms of daylighting, then it should be adequately lit. regardless of whether you dip below the 20% or not. So there's two things to consider. Anyway, so that's daylighting for you, and I hope you found that vaguely useful. I'm sorry it's so scruffy, but you know, I'm just trying to stick a few things on YouTube, and hopefully they'll come in handy to some people. Thanks very much for watching. Cheerio, bye.